Well, I managed to avoid being bugged, so that's a net positive. Still haven't been back from Sonic King. I wonder if... Oh, is this commentary material I see? Fans on Sonic King. Oh, well now I definitely gotta check this out.
A few moments later.
Well, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but this seems commentary worthy. Alright, let me see if Ephraim's available. Yo, Ephraim, I saw a commentary that seemed worth covering, and since the last time we did one, it did pretty well. You wanna cover it?
Sure, same place as before?
Actually, I'll meet you at your place. It's a long story, and I don't feel like getting into it. I'll be there in a minute. Well, I suppose this is a good time to use this. Good thing I ended up stealing this before I left. Anyways, I was gonna set the coordinates and... Bingo! Now all I gotta do is just walk into it and... Oh shit! Ow! God damn it. Well, I can't say I was expecting this on my first try. Oh, hey! I'm here! Why the silence? Why are you looking at me like that? What in the actual shit happened to my body? What is this? I went from being slick to whatever the hell this is. I demand you change me back at once.
I literally had no involvement in this whatsoever. I do recall you saying you wanted to move away from Hell of a Boss Sills and towards an OC, so this might be related, but I wasn't involved in this, dude.
Oh, right. Yeah, I did mention something about that, didn't I? I guess we can figure this out later. For now, let's start the commentary, shall we? Okay, so before we start, I know next to nothing about this dude outside of what I've heard from Ephraim and a few other commentators that have been mentioned in passing. With that said, I only have a handful of issues with the video in question, so while I'm gonna be blunt as hell, I don't hate the dude, nor do I have a malicious intent towards him, so take a lot with what I say with a grain of salt. We good?
Alright, if we're gonna start a new year, we need to do it right.
And without a background for some reason.
And I know just the method to do so. Box of commentaries, give me something good.
You crazy? We'll take the boat.
No, not so fast, Lois. A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. You know how much we've wanted one of those.
Then let's just...
We'll take the box.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Sonic King, a newer commentator who seems to focus primarily on covering Tony Sonic.
Okay, I need to get this out of the way now, because if I don't, it's gonna end up driving me up a wall throughout the entire video. He has, as of right now, 4 videos on Tony Sonic, 2 everything wrong with videos, and 1 on Zach, which, might I add, explicitly asks for a video on him. Which, by the way, me and Ephraim dig, hashtag shameless plug.
And none of this is even getting into the various Let's Plays he's done, including a 6-part Let's Play on Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and a 10-part Let's Play on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So, if anything, he seems to be mostly a general Sonic YouTuber as opposed to a new commentator.
So already, you're giving your audience a wrong impression of the dude. Now, granted, that's what he's mostly known for, I will give you that. But considering you failed to elaborate on this, this is on you for failing to give proper context. Wait, why'd you want me to emphasize that word so much?
How ironic that the guy who covers Chari 5 to death now has people covering his videos to death.
Personally, I find that about as ironic as you saying that after Sonic King covered Tony Sonic 4 times, given that's the same number of times you covered Neko Koda.
Can we start a burn counter? I want to start a burn counter.
Before we begin, I just want to give a shout out to Ephraim here for helping me see if this video was worth covering, and I'll be linking his channel down below as he does make good commentaries.
Well, at least we know who to blame for this commentary being a thing.
Ah, so you want to start hating already? I'd complain, but that's the least of this point's problems. Ephraim, you go ahead and explain this one. I'm gonna go try to fix myself.
You see, I'm not so much bothered by that shot at me as I am the fact that he decided to make it now. For those who don't know, I just had to deal with people assuming I was responsible for Jesp's video on Boonslayer. Although, at least in that case, I was friends with Jesp and had already expressed a distaste for Boon's video. Meanwhile, I barely knew anything about Sonic King at the time, and had never seen the IGN review in question before he sent it to me. Oh yeah, Sonic King literally showed a screenshot of him sending me the video and asking me if it was good in the video you're covering right now. Either way, keep it classy, Key.
So I think everyone knows about IGN and their awful review of Sonic Unleashed. you see, I'd love to rip that apart, but many others have already done that, and I figured I'd try to stick out from the crowd. So today, I'm going to cover IGN's Sonic and the Black Knight review.
Okay, a couple of issues with that. As to begin with the most glaring issue, your audio is mono, which I'm not sure what editing/recording software you're using, but I know there are workarounds to this issue, like going into your recording software, copying the track, then making one track go to the left channel and the other to the right before merging them into a stereo track. And for editing softwares, in most editors, they have a function that easily enables you to place the audio in one channel into the other. So either way, you really need to fix this issue.
Honestly, I'm unsure as to what difference it would actually make. Fuck, when I googled mono versus stereo to make sure I understood, the first result I got read, "Your preference for either one is entirely based on you, because just like sound, everyone is different." What if Sonic King just prefers mono sound over stereo, which is perfectly possible? For that matter, how would changing the audio make the video better, even in your opinion? You don't explain, you just treat this being an issue as if it's self-evident when, I'm sorry, it's really not.
Now for the point in question, you're covering IGN's Sonic and the Black Knight review instead of their Unleashed review to stand out from the crowd?
Yes, that is what Sonic King just said. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay, but why though? Since the only videos I could find talking about this review are from 2011 to 2012.
Well, then you and I must be looking in very different places because I just YouTube searched Sonic Unleashed IGN review and found a video from 5 months ago, a video from 2 months ago, a video from a year ago, another video from a year ago, a video from 5 years ago, a video from 4 years ago, a video from a year ago, a video from 11 months ago, a video from 2 months ago, another video from 2 months ago.
Jesus, I think that's more than enough proof, my guy. Chill. We're here to make a commentary, not roast the fuck out of them.
So I take it you were unable to fix yourself.
Nope, and I'm kinda pissed about that. However, this is a bigger problem than what I have right now, so let's just focus on this.
All of these videos came out in the past decade and mocked or criticized IGN's old Sonic Unleashed video. Many of these videos are not even a full year old. Again, if you couldn't find them, then I have to question how hard you were actually looking.
With most of their arguments amounting to,
You so did that on purpose.
I do have to give you that, Key. This was the only argument made in that video, primarily because it was a 1 minute long one-shot.
So he has a point. Alright, that's fair. However, if we're going by school logic, he's failing still. Oh god, school.
Also, what if that was the only issue with the review? Again, hence why the video you sampled of somebody pointing that out was a one-shot. Under those circumstances, Sonic King would be right to say that everything that has been covered in the review got covered because the only issue in it has been pointed out.
where was I? Oh yeah, there's also looking at the review retroactively.
I think you mean retrospectively. Retroactively means taking effect from a date in the past, and I have no idea how you would apply that to commentaries.
Oh god, he screen recorded this shit, fuck me. Hold on, let me fix this. And his audio too. And while I'm at it, I might as well be a dick and change his avatar from Friday Night Funkin' to Sunday Morning Fishing Simulator, starring Big the Cat.
Okay, now we come to the first part I do have a pet peeve with. First off, was there any reason to change the avatar? It's not like the picture was of low quality, and even if it was, couldn't you pick a better picture from Friday Night Funkin'? I wouldn't complain if you at least have a reason for it, but you don't, so it just kind of comes off as borderline pointless.
To be fair, I've seen other commentators do this for the sake of a joke before. However, what bothers me isn't that you're doing it by itself, and more how disconnected the joke feels from anything going on, which I will allow my co-op partner to explain further.
Okay, I see your point, but to raise a counterpoint here, I could reach and say that he's thinking he's stupid because, you know, it's Big the fucking cat, but I'm gonna be super generous and say that's not the case. That being said, however, you could have picked Sonic, which would make more sense since you do call him that throughout the entire video. Fuck, you could have at least picked Shadow if you were to go for a joke. You know, because people mistake Shadow for Sonic and vice versa back in the day. You know, ignoring the fact that one's blue and the other's black, but details beat tails. My overarching point here is that this can be seen as a dick move for no discernible reason. And yeah, I'm not one to talk considering I've been a dick in both Unleashed and Forces. But counterpoint, again, I've been giving out fair criticism despite my harshness and my bluntness.
Gamers who grew up with Sonic have waited a long time for a true update to those classic games that were so fast and intense. And frankly, they're gonna keep waiting.
Hate to break it to you, sir, but Sonic and the Black Knight is a spin-off. It isn't a direct follow-up to the classic games, and therefore it doesn't have to be exactly like them.
Except he wasn't comparing this game to the classic game.
No, he just said that gamers want an update to the classic games, therefore implying that's what the target audience is going to desire going in. Although, by doing so, he is also implying that the game not being an update to the classic games is therefore an issue with it, so I don't even know anymore. The point is, he did directly draw a comparison between this game and the classic games by saying in the opening of his review that gamers want a modern version of the classics. That means he is saying that this game, ideally, would play similar to the classics with maybe some flaws ironed out or a handful of new bells and whistles.
He was comparing this game to the titular gameplay style this series is known for, going fast. Something he elaborates on when you cut back to the video.
To be fair though, Sega did come pretty close with Sonic Unleashed. The daytime portions of that game were fast and furious, set in 3D, and they did harken back to those ideals established long ago.
That in no way debunks Sonic King's point. The reviewer in question made reference to long ago, again, directly after mentioning how gamers want the classics but bigger and better. When do you think long ago was? And if you say in a galaxy far, far away, I swear...
Also, are you sure that Sonic and the Black Knight is a spin-off given how the ending of that game is tied in with something that happened in the game prior to this one, Sonic Unleashed?
No. The day at the end was an optional one, and if you had bothered looking further into it, it was more of a choice than an actual statement. But barring that, Rings here only gives what is essentially lip service at the end, which can be seen as an afterthought as it's been established by Sega themselves. They didn't want any of the characters shipped. Because Lord knows the fandom already does that for them. And even if you want to argue that, at no point did Sonic ever say anything about a date. And considering his track record, yeah, I would not be blamed if anyone didn't realize this.
Also, that's not how spin-offs work. Like, at all. Spin-offs can tie into events that occurred in the main franchise. Mega Man Network Transform ties into the events of the mainline Mega Man Battle Network series in that it fills the gap story-wise between the first and the second game. That doesn't mean it suddenly isn't a spin-off.
Alongside how this game is still following the core principles of Sonic games like trying to reach the end as fast as possible.
The same can be said about Sonic Drift, Sonic R, and the Sonic Riders games. Given they're racing games, therefore your goal is to make it to the end as fast as possible so you can beat the competition. Does that mean those aren't spin-offs now? Because if that's what you believe, that goes against the definition of the term spin-off. Produce something new based on a popular television program, movie, personality, etc. What would it need for you to count it as a spin-off under your definition? Would it have to be a game where the goal is to make it to the start as slowly as possible? If so, then the only people I can think of that would make that game are iconic Bon Jovi opposite band John Bovey, known for such hits as Glaze of Glory, Alive or Dead, and Good Medicine.
Not to mention how being a spin-off wouldn't change how this game could let down people's expectations if they were wanting a game akin to the classic games in terms of their speed.
You know, the game series you just denied IGN was comparing this game to, but am now saying their overall point involved a direct comparison. Also, Sonic King's point was that expecting such a thing from this game would be a bad idea because you'd have no reason to assume it would be similar based on the concept of the game and how it fits into the Sonic franchise more generally. I'm losing my fucking mind here.
But as soon as you sit down and actually play it, you're gonna want to kill yourself.
Okay, that's over-exaggerating. I get most people don't really like Black Knight as much as other games, but I don't think anyone in the Sonic fandom would dislike it to the point where they'd want to kill themselves.
You say in response to an interjection which literally began with Sonic King calling the statement an exaggeration. Or hyperbole.
You're always at a dead stop fighting enemies, and it just happens endlessly. And these battles take place via waggle, not gestures, because gestures imply some sort of calculated measurement. None of that's going on here. There's no vertical or horizontal slicing, it's just shake, 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 and win, win, win.
First, see my previous point.
Because that point worked out so well the first time.
Second, a comment on your video actually called you out on this. Sonic has an entire moveset that depends on what direction you're pressing the analog stick and what direction you swing the Wiimote. There's a stab, a tornado uppercut, a homing slice, and more. Even more so, you do actually unlock styles later in the game that are both speed and power oriented respectively, albeit it's very late in the game.
So ignoring how all of these claims have no evidence to support what they're saying, since that's been a running theme with your commentary, can I just point out how you're using a comment that was posted 3 years ago at the time of this recording when IGN's Sonic and the Black Knight review came out in 2009? Meaning that there's an 11-year gap between the video and the comment? Or in simple terms, this is a time traveler argument, which is the worst possible argument to make since this information wasn't present during the time this video was initially uploaded. Like, if you're gonna argue an old video, then keep the information around the same time point as the video.
Okay, Key, do you have any proof he's wrong? Because if not, what you just said is circumstantial at best, and that is really giving you the benefit of the doubt. Now, even if I were to play devil's advocate here and say he's wrong, you don't actually do anything to disprove this beyond throwing baseless words, which is not an argument in any degree.
I don't even know what the issue is here. Was there something that happened in those 11 years that would make the point valid when IGN made it, even if it is no longer? Because if not, then you're just pulling a non sequitur out of your ass in hopes it disproves Sonic King's argument.
Though I will give IGN credit for this. Unlike a certain someone I know, they aren't trying to make a living off of harassing someone.
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Oh boy, this is the big one. Okay, as I explained in your comment section, there are quite a number of flaws with this argument. But since we're in video form now, I'm going to elaborate further on the matter. Of the 4 you presented, that being the Birdman, X-Fred, Gyruff, and myself, only one of them is getting any money off this. And even if you want to argue that's not the point, 3 of them have more videos than anything on Tony Sonic. Let's start with me, for example. I have 72 videos as of right now. Out of 72, I have 4 commentaries, one of which is even covering Tony Sonic, and a 5th one on the way. A crap ton of shitposts that have nothing to do with anything, and everything right and wrong with video. So, please tell me how in any way I am milking Tony Sonic, because I legit want to know. Now, if I was doing these weekly, like the Birdman and to some extent Tony Sonic, you would have a point. But with that said, these are monthly, so you can't really use that as milking. Now, you could argue I'm kind of indirectly responsible for people getting on Tony Sonic, and you know what? I'll gladly take that beating any day of the week. However, what you just said is such a blank statement, it's not even funny. Now moving on to Gyruff, because believe it or not, this argument gets even stupider the more I go on. He only has 2 videos directly talking about Tony Sonic, one of which was using my script, so realistically, 1 if we're being completely honest, 1 on Chari, and many focusing on Pokemon Ill videos. So the only real argument you could use here is that he milks the Pokemon Ill videos, but again, due to his poor wording, makes it sound like he milks Tony Sonic when he very much doesn't. This doesn't even go into the fact he doesn't even get anything out of this financially. As for X-Friends, he only has 123 videos, and of those, only 3 videos are on Tony Sonic and the rest don't even relate. And as I said before, he doesn't get any money off this. Do you not see how fucking stupid your overall argument is here? The only one who remotely works out of this context is the Birdman, and even then, due to your own fucking logic, doesn't even cover Tony Sonic. In fact, Everon, you do the honors and explain the rest of his point.
I'll give you I don't like how Sonic King used the word harass either, but your going along with it honestly makes you know better. When people think of harassment, they think of the actions of people like Sherman or Sylveon, not just making videos of somebody a bunch of times. That might be obsessive, but that could not be considered harassment in any meaningful way. All of these people seem to do, even judging by your own statement, is have a repeat target, which, okay, a bunch of commentators have that. At what point does it become harassment? You don't say that. Instead, you just make an out-of-nowhere potshot at 4 people for, again, best as I can tell, having repeat targets. Oh, the horror.
Wait, lastly, you claim that we're harassing him. Okay, are you going to present any fucking evidence to back this claim up? Because I remind you that I have my ill videos screen-checked by several people before I send them out, so I can tell you for a fact that is grossly incorrect. And last I checked, nobody has taken issue with anything I've said, besides the moronic fanboys. The closest thing you could argue in my case is that I'm blunt and harsh, and yeah, that is absolutely correct. I'm not going to pretend that isn't the case. But I'm honest and very straightforward with what I say. And that's not even getting to the fact that his fanbase attacked me first. Let's run down the list, shall we? I've been called a pedophile, a no-life, an idiot, a waste of space, been dogs, had death threats sent to my family, and that's just scraping the surface. I could drag this video out for an hour going over every single goddamn detail if I really wanted to. But I'm not going to burn up Ephraim's time, nobody audiences, but everyone can verify and even confirm these in my Discord. So yeah, I have absolutely every right to be harsh and blunt. So to answer your bullshit point, have I been harsh? Sure. Have I been overly angry at points? Yeah, you're right about that. But I'm going to tell you this right now. I do not give a flying shit about what you say about me. I can take the punishment and then some. But you are not going to sit there and lie about other people, especially targets that are much smaller than you. If you want to blame me for Tony Sonic getting all the heat, fine. I don't fucking care. But you pull that little stunt and tell people such info about people I care about, wrong information makes me unbelievably angry. They already dealt with that shit from his fandom. I don't need you starting up shit too. Also, I love the fact that you said SK left out context, but what you just did was way fucking worse. Look, you can say whatever you want about him leaving out context. At least it wasn't with malicious intent. And on top of that, it's very minor compared to what you just did, not doing basic fucking research. Like, hell, it took me several minutes to get this info, and I suck at this, so what the hell's your excuse? Final thoughts. I do agree with most of your points. However, for replacing an avatar for no discernible reason, having a condescending take on a weaker channel that's learning the ropes, and then lying about people harassing Tony Sonic is just a nail on the head. Hell, if I had known any better, it seems like you're just a Tony Sonic fanboy that refuses to acknowledge his mistakes. And pretty big ones, might I add. However, this video is not about Tony Sonic, so I'm not going to use that argument against you. But in the future, please use your wording more carefully. Consider the person you're talking to in sort of subdued tone. And yes, I am very aware how hypocritical this sounds, but my counterpoint to that is this. I have covered someone who's been doing this for a year and a half, so he does not get a free fucking pass. So, next time, do some actual basic research before covering someone, because context is everything! With that said, thank you again for having me on, Ephraim. I gotta get out of here and get back to my original look.
You're welcome. My final thoughts are this. This video was shit. Although not all the points were terrible, Key constantly missed what the Sonic King was saying and would regularly just ignore sections of the IGN review in order to make his own points. It commonly came across like he just wasn't paying attention, if I'm gonna be blunt. Also, the shot at the end was just incredibly out of pocket, like what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Good night, and good luck.